Live, living color. Let me get a shot of this gold water tonight. Store it out. I need all the mental power and mental energy I can get when I come before my people. We taught to try to do everything right in the sack. So, assalamu alaikum, family. How the Black Nation doing tonight? I pray all is well. Sitting here in the belly of the beast. I said Farad Muhammad, PopKeys, brother captain. Whichever cap I want to put on tonight, I usually wear all of them in this situation. But I pray everybody is well tonight, but I wanted to bring forth tonight. And next week as well, we want to bring some very informative educational information on how to teach our children, to teach ourselves. Because how do we expect to be properly educated? We've been miseducated by our open enemy that don't want to see us come from the bottom to the top. So we got to start teaching our children and teaching ourselves proper knowledge. That way we can change our behavior and we can move from the bottom to the top because we want to rule. So any information I'm going to give you is going to give you information to grow on. And I got a fine young man, Brother Faton Bay. He's been on here before. And he's an educator. He's a father. He's a husband. He's an entrepreneur, has his own business. He's very versed in the art of self-defense and martial arts. He got a black belt, just a young man. But the difference is the way he's been educated and trained. He come up out of our school of thought. He come through our educational system before he went off into the Caucasian educational system. But he was already had a foundation. And that's what our children are missing because we can't really educate our children properly. That's why they lose interest in the public school system. That's why they have a lot of behavioral problems. Young men, automatically taught to have some type of behavioral problem because they don't just sit there and listen and for 45 minutes to an hour in a chair looking at a blackboard and someone talking at them and not being fully engaged. So I wanted to bring that forth tonight. Also, next week, we're going to have a brother that's highly skilled. I met him at EYL at InvestFest. He ran that prize that they had for the I think he won $125,000. He won the contest who was the best at AI, and we talked for a good while. He has his own company called The Cold Wear, named after his daughter. And we were talking about AI, artificial intelligence. And I said, brother, you'd be good to bring before the people. He said, man, it's easy. He said, it's just like learning the ABCs. So I made contact with him. So Monday night, make sure you get your children there, get your notebooks and your pad. We want to bring our people down to modern times now. We want to put ourselves in position to be up with modern times, not behind the 8 ball, trying to catch up. While these white boys have taken control of everything, and like in the motherland, they created their own 1.5 billion people. They're off the net, off this system. They created their own internet system. But they ain't even tapped into this system unless they just want to tap into it now. So we want to get up on this information because I know my son, 19 Keys, been pushing this for years and years and years, because there's a lot that I need to learn. I don't know that much about AI, artificial intelligence, and all this type of stuff. But I know we got young people, they catch on to this just like that. I got another brother that's into robotics that I met at Invest Fest. I got to search and find this number and get in touch when I would like for him to come on. I want the information that we can grab hold to and our people can grow from. And we can start building an economic base and wealth and a power base for ourselves, because knowledge is power. That's just the bottom line. Our children need to be into robotics, knowing how to develop them, how to control them, whatever it takes. We want our children to get into it now. We don't want to be sitting back just learning about the ABCs. And my time I came, they taught my Jack Deere went up the damn hill, Humpty Dumpty. I don't know exactly what they're teaching in the public school system now, but whatever it is, it ain't enough. So let me read a little bit of this to you, and I want to bring in Brother Faton, bring it right on in. It says, to educate black children, people, we must separate them from other children. There is no way, I repeat, and you can disagree with me as much as you want. There's no way to teach our children properly as long as they are mixed with the other races. That's why homeschooling is so important now. When you all start trusting the minds of your children completely to the hands of your open enemy, you got to set up shop at home. There are many reasons why that is so, but I mentioned just one. We black people made the other races in our images. 6,000 years ago, all the troubles on earth started as a result of this. Listen now. Take it and let it alone. Now, if you truly believe this, how will you teach it to our children in a multi-ethnic setting? How will the other parents let you teach it in the schools? They have a problem now, just teaching that basic black history. You may say, well, I just want to teach them the principles of ancient science and mathematics. But these principles are based on the fact that God is the black person, and all other people were made in his or her image. They involve rituals whose foundation is that we do not study science and mathematics, but manifest it on earth. Listen, we manifest science and mathematics. Listen, made human beings can only study what has been made or created. Creators, on the other hand, can only manifest the principles of creation. That's you. Because these principles originate from within them. You understand what I just said? Let me read that back, because this is very important for us to start to snatch on to. It said they involve rituals whose foundation is that we do not study science and mathematics, but manifest it on earth. Manifest. Made human beings can only study which has been made or created. That's the Caucasian. Creators, on the other hand, can only manifest the principles of creation because these principles originate from within them. These two modes of learning are worlds apart, and it's 180 degrees opposite each other. Listen, every way we can help our people, especially children, is more than worth the time by mentioning some of the truths to them, namely that the ancients had ways of perfecting people's character. And they also had ways of finding our mates for everyone, as well as methods of health and hygiene that totally prevent all forms of illness and many other truths. We'll discuss it in the future. Black people, listen, just about finished with this, do not choose a method of learning arbitrarily. They choose it because it's natural and superior to any other method imaginable now or any other time. That's why children have such a hard time, because it ain't natural the way they teaching our babies at all. In order to understand the following discussion on the different types of brains, it's important to know that the theory of evolution taught by modern scientists is the exact opposite of the truth. This is what they taught us. Listen. Modern science claims that all higher life forms evolved from the lower types. In other words, they claim that all people came from animals. Think about this. This claim is the direct opposite of the truth. This is what they taught. People did not come from animals. Listen, animals came from people. I repeat, to understand biology, genetics, it's important to realize that all plants and animals on earth came from people. You're the creators. Now, it might fly over some of you all's head because you've been taught to think that we evolved from some damn animals, some apes, and all these old type of things. But the original people of the planet Earth, we are direct descendants of the creators, and you got to get this in your head. And I want to read that part and put it out there to set up the foundation. But now, Clement, you can bring in Brother Faton so we can go and get down for a minute. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Faton.
Walaikum salam.
How the brother doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you for asking.
Yes, sir. Brother Faton, I want you to
What was that?
let the people know your name, maybe a little bit of your background.
I can't hear you, sir.
I said, I want you to introduce yourself. Let the people know what your name means and what type of education that you got in the beginning as you came in as a little child, and a little of your history. Just get a little bit of profile on you, bro.
Okay, yes, sir. So, assalamu alaikum.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Peace,
Can you
love,
hear
God.
me? Okay.
Yes, sir, brother.
So, my name is Faton Bay. My name means the blessed warrior of Allah. I was named by my father, Brother Abbas. Um, we are products of the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the example of Dr. Yusuf Bey out of Oakland. And the way that he was able to set that example, it speaks a lot of volumes. And so that education is directly from Allah and his messenger, and it hasn't been tampered with. So that's what we give credit to, the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so that's when I think of foundational, in Islam, we have pillars. So anytime you want to build something, you have to have pillars. So I do want to say that, I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship besides Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. And I further bear witness that the lessons that our Savior Allah gave us to study and learn is the fulfillment of the prophecies of all former prophets. And so when we're speaking on education, it always goes back to the lessons. That is as intimate as it can get. The Allah came in the person and hand delivered those with a messenger to give directly to us. It doesn't get any more personal. It doesn't get any more intimate than that.
That's so true, because what people got to realize, we didn't start the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was started by God himself.
That's right.
This
That's
is a
right.
divine mission that we are on, and it will soon come to be known throughout the world.
That's
But
right.
talk about a little bit on your education, brother, how you was taught, knowledge itself, kind of break it down. Because I seen you breaking some things down on Facebook about the lessons and the knowledge and the curriculum that our children should be learning as opposed to what they're getting now.
Yes, sir. So that has so many different dimensions. On one point, the school system from the American school system has been designed, so it's working effectively. It's been designed to create slaves or to manufacture slaves.
Hold on for 1 minute, not to cut your wisdom, but you're a teacher as well, right?
Uh, yes, but I no longer teach in the school district.
I know it, but you have taught in the school district. What I'm
Yes,
trying to
sir.
say,
Yes, sir.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now
Yes,
continue
sir.
on, soldier.
So the public school system, as we've formerly known as the public fool system, its complete design is to turn the youth into slaves, into workers, employees. So it's working effectively. Um, Whereas the way we were taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Muhammad's lessons in Elijah's Educational Center was that we are made to be leaders and rulers on the planet. So that's two different types of teaching. But I do want to say that something that you have said time and time again, and it's in the lessons where it says that the original man has 7.5 ounces of brain and the grafted man has 6 ounces. And that is so profound, more than just the mathematics, but it shows that the two brains are similar because you have to have six in order to have seven. So the only thing that's different between the six and the seven is that extra ounce and a half. And so what is happening is that our youth are only valuing that extra ounce and a half. They're only valuing the artistry. They're only valuing the swag. They're only valuing the thing that makes us different without focusing on the mastery. So uh the white man has done is he's effectively mastered his mind. He's effectively mastered his craft. And we have not. We have effectively been mastered by the quote unquote ex-slave master. And so what happens is that we value our ounce and a half, that artistry, that divinity without mastery. And so what he does is he recognizes the difference and he can see what it looks like. And so he'll establish a record label. He'll establish, a director for videos, for movies, whatever have you. And he'll be able to, with his mastery of his craft, he'll be able to take advantage of our artistry. He'll be able to take advantage of our creativity. And so I say all that to say that in our education, I think that we should be focused on mastery of our craft first, and then we put the divinity, the swag on it, or the making it look nice, the artistry on top of the mastery, rather than just artistry alone.
What are some of the things we need to master, brother, for time, educational wise?
So basic mathematics, multiplication at Elijah's Educational Center. And this is something that we did at Elijah's Education Center and something that I did when I was a teacher. I taught for 5 years in the public school district. And something that we did in Elijah's Education Center was mastery of all basics and fundamentals. So we could be able to calculate and compute multiplications at so the lessons that our Savior Allah gave us is all distances, mathematics, measurements, weights. You can go so deep into these lessons. And this is really what is the power of bringing us up into that mastery. So we should be able to have mastery over mathematics, not just the 1 through 12s, but the 1 through hundreds. We should be able to do algebra. And a part of the problem is these the devil's system removed all the trades out of the school where that mastery would have been useful. What good is mathematics if you're not going to build a house? What good is the knowledge of electricity if you're not doing any wiring? Or what good is any knowledge of an engine or gasoline or alternative fuel?
You teaching.
Yes, sir. Alternative fuels if you're not working on any vehicles. So the children, they're not they're not dumb. It's just that they have so much desire to do something, and then the school systems have taken that out, and so all of our creativity has become useless. And then when the children get bored in class, all of a sudden they got ADD or they have problems. They're a problem child because they don't want to be a slave. They want to be creative. Um, and so it goes back to the mastery of the mathematics. All those things, that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the things that people are saying, oh, it's useless, it's outdated, is really not. It's actually more relevant now because that's the
Yes,
language that
sir.
this artificial intelligence is speaking.
Yes,
We
sir.
just don't
Teach.
understand the language.
Teach.
The artificial, and I always like to call it artificial intelligence instead of AI because that's
There
what it
you
is. It's
go.
artificial, but we are
Synthetic.
the original.
That's right.
It's not real. It's based off of what we program it with, and I say we as a larger we because
Yes.
original man has not been programming these computers.
That's
It's
right.
been these facilities who have effectively mastered their craft. Then they can program the artificial intelligence with their beliefs. They can
That's
and they have done studies to see how effective these AI artificial intelligence is not God. It's just
come on.
being able, it's a calculator. So however you program the calculation is just going to spit back out what you just programmed it. So if I
That's right.
program it to say that, we're going to all wait for some white Jesus with blonde hair and blue eye, I program that, then that's what it's going to repeat back to me when I ask it, what is everybody waiting for? Everybody's waiting for a
Yes.
blonde hair, blue eye Jesus.
For time I have heard people say, I heard black people say it that like you say, artificial intelligence is gonna be like a god. But I always disagree with that because I know it's not our mind power that's being programmed into it.
That's right.
You understand? Anyone that has a knowledge of self should understand that. But I heard brothers and sisters that got the knowledge of self saying it's gonna become a god. I don't debate with you, but I know personal level. I know who I am. I know we're the original man, and I know we had nothing to do with really the development and the programming of the information that's going into this so-called intelligence. So it ain't even knowledge is infinite. So it ain't really got nothing to do with us. It'll touch on some of the things we know, some of the history, and all these type of things called being programmed. And it might have the ability to do certain things on its own based on mathematics. But it ain't can't even touch it. Can it build a mothership?
That's right.
Continue on, brother.
Yes, sir. So in terms of education, it's the we are really, as original men and women, original family, we are challenged because we don't want to just produce one result like the slave master called Cain. They wanted just a perfect slave, a perfect worker. And so our challenge is that we're not so limited on the result that we want to produce. We want to produce rulers and gods
Come on.
and people who can take care of the planet the way it's supposed to be taken
Come on,
care of.
brother.
And that doesn't look a certain way. And so our challenge is to not be so focused on the result, but really resurrecting or bringing up who the children are made to be. Because I'm a father, but I know that without a shadow of a doubt that these children Allah has their hands on my children because I can't.
Yes,
There's no way that I could have taught these children to have their own personalities. Because as a father, I would have made them listen more. I'd have said, "Look, this is what you gonna do, and this is what you go."
yeah,
But no, they have their own personalities, and
yes,
so
sir.
the same within the school system is that because in the public school system, the ultimate result, the way that you know that the public school system did its job, is if that child is a perfect employee or a perfect slave. So it's very difficult to be inside of the school system and work against it, which is why I no longer do that. I
Yes,
realized
sir.
that I was being a hypocrite because I was teaching these children, look, you have the ultimate power to do whatever you will. You just put it on your mind. And they looking at me like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And what am I doing? I'm clocking in and collecting a paycheck. I haven't put my will to work to establish something for myself. I haven't done all the things that I'm telling them that they can do.
Yes,
So I
sir.
said, you know what? I bowed out and I started my own. And I'm using
Yes,
my business as a platform to now educate. Now I have the ability to go to the high school and ask them, oh, would you like to work or do you want to learn about a certain trade? And I have that ability to do that now. All praises are due to Allah.
yes, sir. Brother, that's the reason I gave this opening statement when they said we had to educate our children a certain way, but we can't do it mixing it with the other races. And that's the reason why. Because they have an agenda and Allah has an agenda.
That's
And we
right.
know our children learn differently. You broke it down pretty good, Brother Faton, because like you say, everything is applicable. Mathematics is applicable. Elijah Educational Center, we're teaching algebra to first, second, and third grade children.
Yes, sir.
And I used to walk past the classroom, and the sister would have the door closed, and she'd be asking a question on the equation and stuff, and the children were saying, I know, I know, I know. All the children were so enthused. These are little children. You understand what I'm saying? And that's
Yes,
why
sir.
you can tell the difference when we teach our own. You understand? And like you say, mathematics is applicable. If you don't have the trades in the school system, you don't know how to do electricity, you don't know how to do measurement and carpentry, the plumbing. One thing about that, the educational system that made the brothers kind of advanced today as well. But Brother Latif was the principal. That's when they had the bigger computer. They didn't have the laptops then. But he had the students, some of my children were in, H1, Jabril, and all them. Well, he made them break the whole computer down, bit by bit, piece by piece, and break it down, set it down, name all the pieces and stuff. And then they had to put it all back together. You understand? And it had to work.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? This is
Yes,
applicable
sir.
applications. You dig? So that's the difference. And then they had the knowledge of self. Teach on the knowledge of self and how it's so important because it builds your self-esteem, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the base of knowledge itself is identity.
Come
And
on.
so, because that's one of the things that was stripped from us when we were brought over here, it's
Come on.
impossible to force somebody to be a slave if they know exactly who they are. And so, if we have been stripped from everything, including identity, which is the worst that anybody has ever been treated on the face of the planet. So, we are literally the result of the worst treatment
Come
in
on.
history, and so it took God Himself to come and give us who we were. And so by having the knowledge of who we are, we're just not going to let anybody treat us anyway. We're not going to let
Come
anybody
on.
just talk to us anyway. Even, and all praises are due to Allah. My father would always tell me that Dr. Bay would tell him that even if you're on the job, even if you're on a job, you basically are getting paid to learn. So it's with identity to know I am the original man. And all you're doing with respect and humility is teaching me the things that I need to know so that I can take responsibility from my post, from my planet, from my environment, rather than you're only teaching me enough so that I can be useful to you in your world and your agenda. And so without identity, without knowledge of self, then we just easily taken advantage of.
But I could have said it no better, brother. Your knowledge itself is the foundation of all knowledge.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I used to walk with my children, and I would hold their hand, and they little children, and ask them, who is the original man? And they had to repeat it back to me. Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the
Like
cream of the planet, God of the
God of the
universe.
universe.
And then we'd ask them who the devil was, who was the colored man. They had to break it all down. Yeah, you ask student enrollment, you ask your facts,
Yes, sir.
and all these things that they had to learn. That was part of the curriculum.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, the measurements of the earth, the water, how much the earth weighs. That's part of the curriculum. What's
That's
the
right.
measurements on the universe? That's part of the curriculum. And then they had, Honorable Elijah Muhammad had mathematical equations. I can't break them down now. That you had to learn. You understand? In the
Yes, sir.
problem book.
That's right.
So we've been given such an inferior education. That's why we hate self and kind. Because we knew who we were and the power of creation that we have in ourselves. When you see another brother, man, you know you're looking at God, you have love and respect because you know that individual that you looking at or thinking about doing harm might have the key to solving problems that we have on our planet, such as cancer and all these type of things.
That's
You
right.
understand what I'm saying? But
That's
when
right.
you're running around here with blonde wigs on and all these eyelashes, and I looked at something the other day where sis was breaking it down. And she was saying, you know, if you notice, when black women get with the Caucasian, they don't wear none of that stuff.
Hmm.
They don't have the weave on. They don't have all that makeup on. They don't have all them long eyelashes. They take all that stuff off for the white man. You
That's right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because
sir.
they know he ain't gonna go for it. They got to come as they are. But when you come to your brother or the original man, you put all this here false, whatever you want to call it. So who are you really trying to impress?
Hmm.
You know, you can tell by a person where they dress, where their mind is at. But you know, it's so important that we start giving the correct knowledge to our children. But I hear him talking about taking out our history. You can't take our history out. If our home was set up right, because you teach a watered down history anyway in the public school system,
Right.
it shouldn't even be no big hooroo about them taking out that watered down history because it should be taught
Right.
in the home. Brother Fatal, what are some of the things you teach your children? How many children you got, brother?
Yes, sir. I have 5 children. But before I go into that, I want to touch back on one last thing about identity
Take your
that I think
time.
is
Take your
really
time.
important.
Take your time.
Yes.
Take your time, brother.
Yes,
Do
sir.
what you
Thank
got
you.
to do. That's why I got you here tonight.
Yes, sir. So another thing with identity, and this is a big issue even with amongst ourselves on how we identify ourselves. So I
Come
teach my
on.
children who is the original man because that's how Allah through His Messenger taught us. But another thing that I realized that other people who have identities, you know, in science, we're taught form follows function. So if I ask, oh, how do you identify? And they say, oh, I'm Chinese. Well, that just tells me that they're from China. Or if
Mm-hmm.
I say, you know, I'm asking you, what are you? You say, I'm Russian. That just tells me that you're from Russia. So your identity is only based on location. But when Allah gave us an identity, it was
Come
based
on.
on a
Come on.
function. It's who is the original man. Not only are we first,
Come,
but what does first mean? First means that we have to
come on.
take charge of our post. We are the
Come
first,
on.
the original, the Asiatic. Well, what do you mean? Why is Asiatic and not Asia? Why are you not saying
Come on.
Asia? No, we are
Come on.
Asiatic. So we define
Come on.
Asiatic as original. That means the planet before there was even any separation. So that means we're supposed to be
Come on,
unified. We a
brother.
unit. Asiatic black man. Oh, okay. So that means that
Come
I'm
on.
from the original, from the dark, from
Come
the
on,
very
brother.
thing that
Teach,
the
brother.
universe was created from. And then you continue on with function. Okay, so now I'm the maker. Oh, okay. So that means I gotta get busy. I gotta do some things. I'm the owner. So that means I'm not
Come
gonna
on,
be
brother.
wasting my
Teach,
time
brother.
doing something for somebody else. I'm gonna do for self. The cream. So you say,
Come
okay,
on,
well, what is
brother.
the cream? The cream means I gotta rise to
Come
the
on.
top. That means I'm not gonna be okay with what this stuff is doing at the bottom. I'm not. My standards are much
Come on,
higher
brother.
than
Come
the
on,
normal
brother.
average person who identifies about where they're from or who their grandparents are from. And then last but not least, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. So you want to
Come
say
on, brother.
mastery, that gives the child so much to work towards rather than, oh,
Yes,
I'm just
sir.
from there or my blood is from
That's
here.
right. Come on,
So
brother. Teach,
identity
brother.
is really the foundation of how we supposed to our form follows our function. This is who we are because this is what we do.
Brother, keep teaching, brother.
All praises are due
Go
to
ahead
Allah.
on, brother. All praise due to Allah, brother.
Praise due to
Everybody can
Allah.
relate to that, brother, that's listening. And I
Yes,
know
sir. Yes,
that
sir.
for a fact. That's beautiful teaching, brother, where you broke it down. When you say you the God of the universe, we put the universe there. I
That's
mean, we
right.
have a responsibility. We're a father of all nationalities on the planet.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
come from the original man. You broke it down. You know, when I talked to my nephew, called me last night. He said he was breaking down a lot of knowledge, and he was saying how he was. He said they had he do TikTok, proposition more, and he was talking about how you had a lot of African brothers calling in and knocking the black man, this, that, and another, talking about us and stuff. He talking about how they was getting on him. And I heard the minister say today, we call ourselves African Americans, but before the planet was named Africa, named by the Europeans, he said America was named America Vespucci. He said we ain't none of that.
That's
It's just
right.
like what you just got through saying. We the Asiatic black man. That's the name of the planet.
That's
Before
right.
any of these other nationalities came on the planet, that's who we are.
Right.
Africana, named by Africa, named by a Roman general. So when you hear the Africans talking about they're Africans, they still dead. Mentally, you still dead because you still calling yourself. And they was taught that the reason they started calling you African, that was to separate us from one another.
That's right.
You understand? So you 100% on point, brother Faton. So you can carry on as you were, brother. I had too much I need to say tonight.
All praises are due to Allah. Yes, sir. So yeah, that speak towards identity. I do have 5 children. Um, and so that is what we're doing. So we teach the children at home, and that is the basis. Interesting that that's how the lessons even start off to inform us to say, look here, this lesson number one is the basis of your work today. And so when you get out of quote unquote dogma and you turn it into a relationship with your God, the lessons speak to you to say, look, brother, I understand what's going on. This is a heavy time going on. I got you, brother. I got you. This is why I'm here. And so when I read the lessons, that's how and I share this with my children. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're questioning. And so what it does is it gives them tools to question their environment.
Yes, sir. Come on with it, brother.
And so when we have all praise is due to Allah. It also gives me the opportunity to spend time with these lessons with my wife as well, because she didn't
Come
come
on, brother.
through Elijah's Educational Center.
Yes,
And
sir. There
so
you go.
it really teaches me, for one, to be really, really patient, but it also teaches me that this is the way that Allah has designed creation. It starts with man, and then he shares that instructions. He shares his inspiration that he gets from Allah with his woman,
Come on,
and
brother.
then through the
Divine order.
woman, yes sir, and she digests it, and then in turn, through her ability, she has divine abilities, and she shares it with the children. And so you were saying something about how the system is designed, and how the Caucasian, and in our teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are taught that the Caucasian was given 6,000 years to rule until we could produce one with wisdom that was greater than his. And that man is
Come on.
Master Farad Muhammad. And so it really has us to look at, how do we define wisdom? If Yaqub never met a white man, Yaqub never met his creation,
That's right.
but we could see that they are here. That means that he was wise enough to bring something into existence that he foresaw uh, 600 years in advance.
He
He
had
only
a
lived
vision.
150. That's
That's
right.
right.
Yes, sir. So that's wisdom. So then we say, okay, so why is Master Farad Muhammad wiser than Yaqub? he must also have a vision that's far greater than his. He must have foresight far greater than his existence. So we say, okay, then if Master Farah Muhammad is the supreme being, and we have within us the creation of the universe, then we should be able to look at the solar system and say that's how we think. Ain't nobody sitting there turning those planets. Ain't nobody having to put hands on the moon that's having control over the ocean. Nobody's controlling these birds to make them fly south. This is
Come on.
all divine inspiration. It's divinity that has put this system into place, and that's what makes the original man far more superior and in wisdom than this grafted man that we've been subjected to for these past 6,000 years. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, only a fool would create a system that's made to be destroyed. It doesn't make sense for you to be running on fuels that are not sustainable. It doesn't make sense to have a system that's only made to eat itself. All these things just doesn't make good sense when you look at nature. Nature is wise.
That's for damn sure. And like I said in the piece, only thing that he can do is he can't create nothing. He only can take that which is already here and has already been created.
That's
and
right.
then he's taking everything that's against creation itself and destroying itself.
That's
He
right.
tried to take the whole human family with him. President Trump said global warming was a hoax. Today or yesterday, destroying the ocean, the air is polluted, destroying the water. They got nuclear weapons that they bickering with now. They willing to destroy the planet and go underground. But it ain't gonna happen. This is an unlike man. This is
That's
a
right.
made man. His nature is totally different from ours, but you said something so beautiful, Faton. You spoke on the divine order, the wisdom of man.
Praise to Allah.
And like you said something important, like your wife, she didn't come up in the teachings. She didn't come up in the teaching of most honorable Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. So you had to set that example on these teachings. She had to see something in you in order to even accept those teachings, brother, and pass it on to the children. That's beautiful, the way I see that, because now your wife is passing on this knowledge and this wisdom and these teachings and put them into her babies. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
sir.
talked to my brother Rasul the other day. I was in Vegas, and he had a situation where they had put his child in custody because of some things that the mother was doing, acting a fool. They were separated for years anyway. But he said that her great-grandmother came down and they had him because he was there seeing it, baby. He might have got it back today because they're going to turn it over to the father. But he said, because she got two grandmothers, but the grandmother came, and they were sitting around with the CPS worker there. She said, don't you, because the last name Muhammad, he said, don't you want to change your name? You understand? Back to your father's name? Or something to that effect. And she said point blank, why should I do that?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? She said, no, I'm a Muhammad. You understand? He said that made him feel so good, though. You understand? Because sometimes, your family or your wife's family or even your family can work against you in their own way when they present an opportunity to come against these teachers, the most honorable Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. But his baby's so grounded in the teaching and in her name. She said, no, why should I do that? She said, I love my name. And that blowed away everybody, even the CPS workers and all that old type of stuff. So we're in such a beautiful time now. And I'm sitting there listening to you, brother, but Brother Faton, I'm smiling on the inside, man, the way you breaking these teachings down and presenting it to the people where they can understand it. Brother, I know your father mentioned to me that you wanted to start a temple down the line. You understand? I wasn't sure at first, but hell, you highly qualified, brother.
Oh, praise
I
be to
want
Allah.
I want to let you know what I see from you tonight, brother. Go ahead on, soldiers. Do whatever Allah is putting in your heart, brother, because you ready now. All the
Praise be
way,
to Allah.
brother. So keep on expounding, brother, because I like what I'm hearing tonight. Whatever's on your mind, it's the time to put it out. And also, people, he has a podcast that he does called The Invincible Truth. Y'all
Yes,
get the
sir.
chance when he tap out, come on Instagram and YouTube, tap into this young man. Y'all see what he teaches. And for time, you ain't up but what, 20 something, right?
No, sir. I'm 32 now.
32, you getting old now, bro.
Yes, sir.
Nah, but
Yes,
he's just a
sir.
young man, 32, got 5 children and a family, got his own business and a teacher, highly qualified to do whatever he
All
wants
praise
on this
be to
planet.
Allah.
But look at his mind. I want you all to see his mind. I want you to see the wisdom in a young man that just 32 years old is walking that planet. And the type of education he got and the understanding it's giving him is putting him up here. He's setting this, Allah is setting us up to rule. So we in good hands. And him and our Father, when that come time for us to leave, we in good hands. We ain't got to worry about nothing. So these teachings going to carry on and on and on. They're going to study evolve. Well, we're going to end up that cream. And once you drop it, it goes to the bottom. But it comes to the top. That's why this podcast is called Takeover Time. From the bottom to the top. Black man God. And we shall rule again very soon, because now America's at the crossroad. And Trump is carrying that burden. He's shaking with it too. On which way to go? It's a reflection. Really, it's a spiritual. It's highly, highly spiritual, what I see. It's showing you the true face of what's in America. You see all the hatred and the bigotry and the biases. And the maiming and the murder, how they justifying it. You see America is falling. But he has the opportunity to go. And then a lot of people looking at him as their savior. We know he ain't a savior, but they looking at it as he could be their savior. Savior from who? They willing to accept fascism. They're willing to take the right of free speech to say what you want now. So it's at the crossroad now. Which one you gonna choose? God or the devil? They talk about civil war. Well, that means all the laws on the book fall. That means all civility come down. This is a reflection on the people in America, on how they really look at God. This is a Christian nation. You say you follow the tenets of Jesus, but do you really? Now the choice is being made. Which way you gonna go, to the right or to the left? This is why the teaching about Honorable Muhammad Elijah Muhammad is so important for us today. That's why young men, young women, like you all are so important on the planet, Brother Faton. That's why the people that's in this podcast, they're soaking up this knowledge. This is divine wisdom and knowledge you're getting tonight. And I hope you have your children sitting down, soaking up some of this knowledge, some of this wisdom. You understand? We have beautiful young people that's being produced in America. We ain't all thugs. We ain't all criminals. the way we being portrayed. Social media and television, we ain't all drug dealers. We got God sitting in the midst of us. Black man, black woman. This young brother is a prime example. We got children in our families. They're striving to be upright, striving to rule, like you say. We teaching our children to be rulers, not worker bees for the devil. I just wanted to throw that out there, but anything else you want to add to this, brother Faton, this is on, brother.
Yes, sir. I just appreciate you reaching out. Um, I don't have too much more other than, you know, going back to being more flexible with our children and understanding. As a parent,
Come on.
before being patient, I had a lot of expectations on my children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those come from social expectations.
Mm-hmm.
As when we was being raised, there was a lot of these repetitions that we don't realize where they come from. For example, some people will tell their children, or children are made to be seen and not heard. That's from slavery.
Right.
And when you look at today, how many people are able to support their family based off of the things that they say and the things that they're able to create, children actually should be heard. From the mouth of babes come wisdom. So
That's
it
right.
is a place where children should have the opportunity to speak their mind, to allow themselves to express their creativity. And a lot of the problems is and I have a hard time. I'm married, but I can't imagine growing up in a single uh, family household. When we were in uh, Elijah's Educational Center, my parents were married, but it wasn't until later on that they got divorced. And a
Yes,
lot
sir.
of that affected me as a child.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, any parents out there, strive to be with keep the family unified, because it affects the children more than you can imagine. I had a lot of, and this is the hard part, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
we're taught at a young age who the original man is, and we are the original man. On the other end, when we get thrown into the public school, we get thrown into the quote unquote world, it's we start learning things about how actually human we are. So there's a balance between understanding our human nature and our divine nature. And they have to, you always keep divinity. That's why we sit on the square. You keep that divinity in control of that bottom nature, but it still exists. And so there's still a lot of trauma that we have as Black people, that we just keep programming ourselves and our children based off of how we were raised. And so it took a lot of time and energy to work through that trauma of not being so having so many expectations on my children to be quote unquote perfect, and just I'm raising, these are Allah has placed these children in my hands as my
That's right.
responsibility, and I
That's
have to
right.
cultivate who they're meant to be, not based off of who I want them to be, but they are
There you
destined to
go.
be. And that's the
That's right.
difference between, being in the school system. I've seen all the wickedness that goes on in the school system. And as a Black man, you fight so hard and it feels like it's for nothing. You be in the school systems and everything has a you feel so powerful and empowered because you fighting against the system. But you realize that even that system is created for you to fight against it. It's literally, that's the way it's designed. And this is the cold part about it. They call it the matrix, right? So the school in any system, but specifically because we talk about education, it's designed to operate in a certain way. And then it also has things in place that as soon as a strong man or
Come
woman
on.
sticks their neck up to fight for the children, it's designed to have things in place to cut you either at your feet or at your neck. And so you can feel powerful fighting against it, but just know that it's designed to get rid of you when the time comes.
That's
And it's
right.
just going to continue, and it'll learn. And this is what we talked about before, how these systems will take advantage of our creativity. So you might say, for example, when I was in the school system, I had set up a store. I was getting products from Farad, and I was getting these different products from all the different health food places, and I was selling the final call. I had a little store front at the school, and I was teaching
Mm.
these young men and women how to sell products, you know. And so what happened was is they started scrutinizing me, and they
Mm.
started to have more. They would pressure me in different areas, and I ended up getting fired for that. But then as I'm gone, now they want to put up programs and things like that to take advantage of the creativity that they just tried to kill.
Yes.
And so that happens time and time again. They're gonna learn. That's the thing. They want to learn. But this is why the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad is so powerful. You accept your own and be yourself and do something for self. Instead of trying to fight their system, just
Come
remove
on.
yourself from it. Come out of it
Come
and
on,
then
man.
put your creativity to work. Because even the devil knows, build it and they will come. So you set up your own school, you set up your own programs, and then you put over to say, hey, young children, we got something over here for you. You don't have to go over there. You think you have to go over there, but you really don't have to. You just let them know. You show up and say, "This is where my children going now. They're not
That's
going to
right.
your school. They're coming to our school."
That's
And so
right.
when they start to see that, then they're gonna know it's real.
That's right. And especially with today's climate, brother, what I'm seeing here where they had a little brother when he about the only black student, they had him, they hung the little brother by a noose in the bathroom, and they didn't really do nothing about it, talking about they were just horse playing. And all these type of things, people dropping our children into the pits of hell. And our children are being abused, misused, miseducated, bullied. And it ain't hard to set up your own schools. Elijah Educational Center wasn't certified by nobody. It wasn't certified by the white man. But our school made our children qualified when they had to go into the public school system or when they had to test out. I remember Jana. She went to Boston University. She come out of Elijah Educational Center and then went to Boston College. Asia one come out of Elijah Educational Center. And then he was the youngest graduate they had in the Oakland Unified Schools system at that time at 15 because they were highly qualified when they put them to the test in their system. But it's time to separate.
That's right.
Quit depending on these people to educate our babies the proper way. You said it's so beautiful. All they're doing is making slaves
Right.
for them. And the little money they're making, then they got the system set up so cold. When you go into their colleges and universities, you coming out 80,000, 100,000 in the hole. Then you got a degree you can't even use. Look at the trickeration that's being played on our people. And we're still so dependent on them. We got to go after ownership. But first, we got to get the proper education. Our children got to be taught to rule. And you said something so beautiful also, Brother Faton, is that you had to learn to be patient. You had to let your children use their own imagination and to speak their minds instead of trying to put them in a box the way we might have been taught, where they can grow into their creativity and their imagination. You understand what I'm saying? That is so important to know how to look at your babies and study them and see their gifts and see the different needs in each one, and how you can develop them and let them be able to speak their minds. You understand? To you, learning their personalities and all these type of things. This is how our children grow. And also families. You said another thing. A lot of times we don't understand because a lot of times we be young coming up in marriages and stuff. We might separate and divorce and stuff like that, but it has a profound effect on the children because they don't know the difference. Shit, Ma and Pa. That's all we know. Then when you got one over here, one over there, You got a single mother trying to raise young boys and young girls. What effect that has on. I listened to an interview Yakuba did some years ago. I was so proud of the brother because even when the bakery fell, and he said they had to go into the public school system, but a lot of that negative connotation from the bakery followed them as young children. And people would ask them certain things and how they had to handle that in those type of situations. So we had to make choices today, family. We get in it, we got to learn how to stick in it. You understand? It ain't about being happy, ladies. They sound like children. It's about the commitment. It's about the family. It's about God and family. As long as you ain't getting abused, it ain't about being happy. Cause hell, it was about it on the man's side being happy. Hell, we've been gone the second day.
That's right. That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yes,
Because
sir.
marriage
There you
we
go.
look at marriage one way, but when you get in it, it's something else. We had to learn how to stick in it, man. There's a lot more committed sometimes to his family than most women realize. A lot of times we ain't happy at all. But it ain't about happy. You looking at your family, man. You're looking at your babies. You're looking at your future. You're looking at the sacrifice that you had to make to maintain and keep that family together. You understand what I'm saying? Because we was taught. I remember Dr. Bay said, them first 5 years of marriage can be very difficult. He said, man can grow to love his woman, but sometimes we can fall out of love.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying? And then the
true.
usefulness determines one's value because we all use where you can grow to love that woman. You understand what I'm saying? Or she can grow to love you even more. But the key is we a family. We're going to go through the thick and thin. And that's the key. Because we got innocent babies that don't know what the hell going on. And we got too many of our babies sitting at home with mothers. We got a lot of children now with their fathers. But we got too much responsibility being put on the woman. And she got to try to raise her children to be upright in the world that's gone mad without the help of divine help and wisdom of the father. Or the mother done left. I met sisters where the mother done left. And just abandoned them with the father. You understand? The mother come back when they done growed up and things like that, and they have certain issues and stuff like that. And I just tell the sisters, just respect your mother and still give her that love. Because at the time she didn't know, she didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? So we got all these dynamics that we got to deal with. But the main thing is if we know who we are, and we know how we originated, and we created on the planet Earth, then we got to all learn how to be forgiving as well. I didn't grow up with my father. My mother wasn't there all the time. You understand? But I never blamed neither one. I looked around and seen the world how it was set up. You understand? So I always honored and respected my father. And I always loved and respected my mother. My mom came back. Grandparents kept us for a while. My father never really came back per se. You understand? When he came back, I was in California at the bakery and stuff. Mine ran him back off, though. You did. But I always loved my father because when I see him, I see myself. So
Mm,
I never blamed my parents and never carried their trauma and stuff like that because some of my brothers and my sisters carried trauma and stuff and it affected them. But I was blessed, man, to understand the world in my little mind at that time and knowing it wasn't really all their fault. So it's been an honor and a pleasure, brother Faton, to, like I say, I know the you before you were born. Called me
That's
and
right.
your father, and I knew your mother, Sister Lorna. We was at the bakery going through our journey through the teachers of the most honorable, humble Elijah Muhammad. And remember when you came to the planet and how you growed up, I stayed in your house with y'all for a little while. And all these type of things, but I'm so proud and honored to see you grow up into such a fine, upright young man. And I admire you, brother. I see how you deal with your children. I see how you let them go and be outgoing. Little brother climbing all up in the tree. See your little girl, she be trying to follow the little brothers and all these type of things. I know your ups and downs, your battles you might have with your family and your wife and stuff, but I see y'all keep it together.
Yes, sir.
You understand? That's the key.
Yes,
This
sir.
is life. This is the highway of life. This is life. We have to keep it together. I see your father, Brother Boz, talked to him a little bit tonight. That's my brother.
Yes, sir.
We thick and thin. We done been on the front line and wars and had all type of conversation and been highly committed to the teaching of the most honorable and humble Elijah Muhammad. You understand? We're going to always be brothers in the brotherhood to the end. I see
Yes,
your
sir.
father right there with you now. Y'all working together and putting it down, man. What more can you ask for, brother?
That's right. Praise due to
The
Allah.
only thing we can ask for now is let's take over time.
That's right. That's right.
Just take over time. So you have any parting words, brother, you just want to give to the people? Because I see cleaning the show back up now. I know she been working all day. I know she a little tired
Yes,
now. She
sir.
throwing me them sides.
I'm appreciative. Thank you again for having me on. I wanted to share this. I don't know if you can see it. This is the book from the
Uh-huh.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Uh,
What's the
an
name of it?
invincible. It's called An Invincible Truth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a compilation. It's a collection of the articles that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was publishing at
Mm-hmm.
that time. And this is what, before there was a very large nation of Islam, it was just
Mm-hmm.
a small, group. And so these are the articles that we review
Mm-hmm.
once a week. And so I always want to give all credit and all praises are due to Allah, and in a real way, in a scientific way, because he shared that with his messenger, and his
Yeah.
messenger gave it to us. And that, to me, there is no greater love than that,
Yes,
because
sir.
we didn't know what that was. We knew that there was something, and we looked all over the place, but Allah decided that He was going to come Himself and get us. And I don't care what anybody says. Did nobody else come and get us? So that's who's going to
That's
get
right.
my undying loyalty.
That's right.
And so, yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
time do your podcast get the people the time when you come on and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. I go live at 2 o'clock on Instagram. They've been kind of keeping me out of live, but at 2 o'clock on Sundays is when I broadcast live if I can. If not, then I'll publish it as soon as I'm done recording. And then my pages are Abu Gaddafi, ABUGODAFI. That's on YouTube, Instagram, as well as TikTok.
All praise due to Allah, brother. It's been an honor and a pleasure having you on tonight, brother.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Faton. And make sure you give Brother Diamond a greeting. I don't get a chance to talk to him anymore like I used to. But get a brother a greeting. Tell him I got an eye on him, though.
Yes, sir.
You dig? So much love to you, brother.
Yes,
Assalamu
sir.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to say, people, for tonight, y'all, hope you enjoy that information. Get you some of this gold water, tap in. You understand? But I wanted to bring Brother Faton on because he's very qualified young man. And we need more examples in front of our people in the way we educating and teaching our children not to be workers, but to be leaders and rulers of the planet Earth. And start teaching more in the home. I had to put something on your cap. Start teaching our babies proper knowledge, and continue to bring people on that can help us elevate Like I say, next week I got a brother coming on. It's real short, teaching on this artificial intelligence, how you can tap into it and grasp it and use it to help us in whatever you're trying to do in life. So, as I say Muhammad. I say Muhammad got the devil on the run. That's right. Run, devil, run. Up, 2, 3, 4. The devil got to go. And chopped off another head. Boom. Drop another head in the bucket. Y'all can't hit that CashApp though, because we take money to take care of business out here. You know, but I appreciate for those that come in. I appreciate you all. And I know we're going to develop something special pretty soon. So thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Black man, black woman, black children.